Hello guys, welcome to another video, and today I'm gonna show you how to install TPM on a Vultr VPS. Now this is relatively easy. Vultr is a pretty good provider for beginning. Let's get right into it. So first you wanna of course make an account, and then you wanna, once you made that account, log in, and once you're logged in, go to the dashboard. There you can deploy a new VPS. Then here we want a 1 GB server, since if we take Chicago here with a shared CPU, which is the cheapest option, and take one of the smaller ones, they're all not available in Chicago. So the cheapest you can take is a $5 VPS, but what is important is that you disable automatic backups. If you don't, it's 6. I mean, if you really need it, you could, but I don't think it's necessary because it's really easy to install TPM. So once you've done that, you can go and continue software. Configure software, I mean, sorry. Here you can use Ubuntu, which is what I prefer. You can use any version pretty much, but I recommend using 2404 because it's the newest long-term release. Now here you can select stuff. You can give it a name, for example, my flipping server. Then you can already deploy it. It's a public IPv4. You don't need an IPv6, but it's free, so you can already check it. Like, it's free, so why not take it? I don't know if it makes a difference, I'm not sure. I know that I have it enabled on my service, but I don't think it's really required, because you can just use IPv4 to communicate. Now what you're gonna need next is Termius. Termius is a terminal application, mainly for Windows. I mean, there is the Linux version, but it's so bad, it's only one operating system for Linux. It's not good. You can theoretically, if you're on Linux, use a Flatpak, but I recommend just using a normal terminal. Anyways, to download Termius, you just go to the download page, here terminus.com, and download the exe. I already downloaded it here on my system. I have it here. And once you download it, of course, you also need to log in, make an account. Yeah. Now then, you should check your VPS. Maybe, yeah, it's still installing. We can already, okay, no, we can't because there is no IP yet. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit and then see you once it is ready. Now the server has an IP as well. So what we're gonna do is copy the IP and then go in Termius, and we have to create a new host. You can either click new host here or you can use that. I like clicking new host. You put in the IP, then the credentials, the username, the port is going to be 22 because it's the port for SSH, the default port. Username is going to be root because that's the super user under Linux. And to get a password, you click on the server and then you can copy the password right here. You also paste that into Termius and then you can connect. Yes. Now what I recommend doing right after installing a VPS is upgrading the server. As you can see, 7 updates can be installed. How you do that is you do apt update and apt upgrade -y. This is basically a get the updates and then download them, and yes, if it asks me for anything. I'm not gonna do that for the sake of this tutorial, but I recommend you do it to be up with security and anything. Now, to actually install TPM, what I recommend is making a new folder. For each separate instance you want to host, if you do not do that in a multi-user where you add multiple IGNs in the config, you want a separate folder. How you do that is with the make directory command, or for short, mkdir. You can see I'm missing an operand, of course. We're gonna make mkdir flip1. That's my first flipping directory. Now, with ls, you can see that currently the directories you have in where you are right now. For example, we are right now on the root, and all the directories in the root is flip1. So we're gonna cd into that. And now, to actually install TPM, we will need the GitHub of ICNRT. Here you can see there is the newest TPM. And to download that, you can right click it, click copy link, and then you can wget it. Wget is a tool to just download files from content delivery networks like GitHub in this example. So you can do wget, and then it will download it. Now here you can see we have TPM rewrite Linux. What we're gonna do now is essentially give it permission to run. So we're gonna do chmod plus x, and if you have a file name, you can just press tab, and then we'll do that. Now you see it's fatter, it's highlighted, you can actually run it. So to run it, and to get a config file, to edit the config file as well, to add a webhook and all that stuff, you're gonna do // and then the file name. Now what I recommend doing, what I always do, is to rename the file. And essentially to do that, we use the move command. So we essentially move tpm rewrite Linux to tpm instead. And now we only have tpm. It's way easier to execute. You don't need any shortcuts like you can do here, I think. No, it's not here. It's this, a snippet. I don't use any of those. I use the Linux terminal personally, but for Windows it makes a lot more sense to use Termius. So then you can run Termius. I mean TPM. In TPM you can now enter your IGN, your Minecraft IGN, the account you want to flip on. Let's say for my example this is miniclone. Then you're of course gonna need to log in. And once you've logged in, you will essentially already join Hypixel. Of course, I'm not miniclone, but that is just for a demonstration. Now, I can already close this again because the config file has already been generated and you don't need to know much more, right? After you log in with Microsoft, you're just logged into Hypixel and Cofl will say, please log in as well. So pay attention to that. You need to log into Cofl. If you do not, you will probably buy shit flips. Now you see here in ls we have config.json5. This is the config file. You can edit it via SFTP here. Of course there's no locally here because I installed it via Flatpak, but essentially via SFTP you can access the files if you'd like to. The thing is I don't want to do that, and I also don't know if it works via Linux. I mean with Flatpak through Linux generally it should work, but Flatpak is very restricted. So what I like to do instead is use nano. Nano is a text editor on Linux you can just use in terminal. So you do nano config.json5, and here you can edit everything. Here you can add a webhook. Now to get the webhook there is a whole guide in TPM, though I will also show it really quickly here. So you essentially go to your webhook. You can make a new channel. It's called a flip. It's a private channel in this case. We don't need any roles. And now to make a webhook, we just use integrations. We create a webhook. We copy the webhook URL, and then you can paste it in here. On Linux, the page shortcut importantly is Control Shift and V. Or you can also right click, I think, but it should be fine. Discord ID is going to be your Discord ID. If you have developer mode, you can really easily just get it by right clicking, copying the user ID. That would be your Discord ID. The TPM bot also has a command for that. For example, if we do / I think it's get user, not get users. There was a command for it, but I'm not sure what it is right now. I just know that it exists. Get Discord ID, that's it, right? That's the same thing. 589, blah blah blah. Send all flips. There's a webhook to send all flips. Every flip you see. Essentially, I don't use it since it's kind of useless to me. If you're not a config maker, it should also be kind of useless to you. Auto cookie is how long it should wait before the cookie expires. So with 1 hour, if the cookie duration is 2 hours, it won't eat the cookie on startup. I recommend putting this to 48 though. Angry crawl prevention. It says what it does. Most people don't need it. Relist is nice. Ping an update, I don't recommend it. This you can leave the default. Beds you may have to adjust a bit because bed timing is very individual and dependent on ping. You have to test around there. You see there's a Discord link that you can look at, and it explains it a lot better than I can. But bed timing essentially is how long to wait before it starts clicking on the bed to try to buy it. Now this is percent of target. I recommend just using 100%. It should be absolutely fine most of the time. So you can essentially just change it to 100. But there will be a template in MacroHub for the config file. List hours. Yeah, I recommend using 24, but you can use 48 as well. It's fine. Just don't use too much. Bed spam, you only need this if you have iPing, if you're running locally, for example, and are not living in America. You can do that. Round 2, it doesn't really matter. Skip is very tough because skip can ban you. There is always a chance that skip is going to ban you. So use this very wisely because it is a risk. It rarely happens, but it can happen. So I recommend putting the profit pretty high. I had it at 10 mil usually. 25 mil also if you want to be really safe. The account is a bit important to you. Now this is kind of useless. I don't know why this feature exists. I don't care about the percentage. I care about the profit. Is also kind of useless. Skip on user finder flips. Yeah, sure. Cosmetics. It doesn't really matter. Do not relist, makes total sense, 50 mil. Skinned, I recommend turning this to false because in my opinion it's kind of useless, but it can save your ass. For example, there was like a 100 mil flip that I recently had a friend get that was a 100 mil flip, but it showed as like a 10 mil flip. So he had that option on, so it didn't relist for him and he was happy. Now here I recommend leaving user on Craftcast, of course. Stacks, this is mostly fine. You can turn this on if you want to be pinged if an item fails to list. Drills with parts, yeah. The rest of the config I think is pretty okay. It's pretty aight. But you don't need to change much. There will be a template, as I said, that you can use. And that's how you get TPM set up on a VPS. So yeah, we are here on. Do we have NeoFetch? We do not have NeoFetch, but we are here on a Ubuntu machine and it works fine. So that's it. If you have any questions, join the TPM Discord, join ConfigHub, join MacroHub, and ask there. We can help you for sure. We can get this set up so that you can enjoy macroing the auction house. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a good day, guys.